Today you're going to put the black glue on your drawing abstraction picture. So there's a few little things you need to know about how to use the black glue, and I'm going to show you those. And then the first day you'll probably just get started with a little bit of it, and then the second day you'll be able to kind of knock out a lot more of the lines. You may not get to the background part the second day, and that's okay. I want you to take your time. Make sure you're not dragging your sleeve through your glue. Make sure you have the lines the way you want them before you start. Today what you're going to be needing is a black glue bottle, and this one's a little foggy because I just mixed it. A tool to use to draw. It's a handy dandy drawing tool. It's a high-tech drawing tool there. And a paper towel. And then you'll want your picture to be on top of an underneath sheet so that you don't accidentally get black glue all over the place. And also this will help carry your picture to the drawing rack later. The first thing you want to make sure of is that your name and your class code is on the back. Then as soon as you're finished with that, if you need to add any other drawing ideas to this picture, you want to go ahead and do that. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. We could always add more later too. So we're going to start in one specific area. Try not to move all over the place with your black glue, because if you do, you'll end up dragging your hand through a wet portion. We're just going to focus on one area today. So find the area that you want to work on. Sometimes what I do is try to find the easiest area so that I get used to using the material first. So this line's pretty easy. I'm going to go ahead and do it first. And when I first open my glue, I might want to open and close it a couple of times so that I can clear out any dried chunks of glue with my paper towel. Then I want to think 90-degree angle, which looks kind of like that. So if this is my glue bottle, this is my paper. Because what tends to happen is that the glue tip drags and touches on the paper. We don't ever want this glue tip to touch the paper. We want it to be above. So I'm going to try and see if I can show you that. Okay. So I want to be real patient and let that glue start to come out. I want to just real thin line, which sometimes it'll come pouring out. You got to be ready for it. Okay. Another line can happen right here. And again, I'm trying to stay at a right angle above and not let that orange tip touch. Now as this line gets thinner, the thickness of my glue can become an issue. So I'm going to stop. And I'm going to use my high-tech drawing tool, also known as a paper clip on the end of a colored pencil, to create a better line and kind of manipulate the glue a little bit. I can drag this glue on down. I want to just do a few lines at a time and then use my tool, because if I try to do a whole bunch of lines and then use my tool, what ends up happening is the glue either dries or kind of becomes like a gelatin or congeals, and it's hard to manipulate and move, or I get so much on there that I can't move quick enough. It becomes overwhelming, and I'll accidentally draw or drag my hand through it. So I want to watch my hand. I don't want my hand to drag through it. And then I can kind of take this on down to create a thinner line here. So I can dip into this and create my line here. Instead of trying to, whatever you do, if it's a small area, don't try to put it directly on with your glue nozzle. Because what will end up happening is your glue nozzle will make it blob, and then you'll lose your line quality. So a lot of this is about, can you control line quality with the unconventional tool? Okay, so you can see that I've created a line here. Now I had a little splatter. I'm not going to try to wipe that off though. So what I might do to make that look like I did it on purpose is I might make it look like cross-hatching. So I'm not going to cry to my mama, because she doesn't really care that I messed up my picture. We're just going to keep kind of playing around until we get something that's going to work. And that could be interesting, and now it looks like I meant to do it. Okay? So I'm going to continue doing that on my entire piece. So your first day, now that you understand how to put the glue on, your first day working on this project, you're probably not going to get very much done. I'd like for you to spend some time really going slowly and making sure you're controlling the medium correctly, the medium being your black glue. So remember that you want to put things on as a right angle, and as soon as you make your line, it's going to be blobby. That one actually was a decent one, but a lot of them come out really blobby. As soon as you create that line, stop. Don't just trace all of your entire piece, because if you do that, you're going to run out of time. It's going to rush you. I want you to go slowly, and then as soon as you create a line in a section, use your high-tech drawing tool to go in and detail that line and get it exactly the way you want it, because you can't come back to it later. It'll be too dry. So the first day, you're really just going to be just experimenting a little bit with the material and trying to start in an easy spot. This was one of my easier spots. And I might make this into a ruler. So I can pull lines out like this. Later on, if I wanted to draw numbers on this, I could. I would just use a Sharpie, like a skinny little Sharpie. So it doesn't have to be all completely black glue. We could, if we needed to detail some stuff. If something's too tiny to do with your black glue tool, then definitely just leave it open, and then we can go back in with a small Sharpie. Remember that when something's blobby, you're going to go back in with this high-tech tool. Okay? So the first day, all I want you to do is get to the point to where you're putting in a few separate little lines. Now if I started here, I don't want to go on the other side of my page. I want to work away from this so that I don't have like a different location with that black glue, because what happens is your hand will drag through it and then you'll have a mess. Okay? So the first day, that's what I would like for you to do, is just start getting your lines in and experimenting with what you can do away from that line. So like right here, I might get my line in and stop. Now it's blobby, so I've got to go back in and fix it. And what I might do, because you know about cross hatching and stippling and other things, you can add shading to this. Now up here I did lines, but what if right here I did some little dots to show that maybe there's a shadow on that area? So I could do some stippling like that. I don't want to do too much of it, but that way it would show me that maybe the light source is down below. Okay? So I can do a little bit of that to kind of create an interest, and then finish off the piece with another line. If I accidentally blob something, I'm not going to freak out. I'm just going to try to control my glue best as I can and control the line and make it look like I did it on purpose. And if I have bubbles, I pop them. So that's what you're doing for the first day. We can take any of this that has extra. See, I can make that look like a texture, because that's going to turn into a paint brush. So I can take any of these blobs and kind of start putting some textures in. All right, so that's the first day. All right, when you're finished with your black glue, what I want you to do to clean it up is put the top of your black glue that you've been working with, close up the lid, and wipe it down with the paper towel that you had at your space. And then those are going to go into these two containers at the counter. The drawing tool you had, wipe off the tip of that so it doesn't get all blobby. So we don't want any black glue left on it. And then it's going to go in this container. These will go here as well, because those are black glue containers. And then your picture will go on the rack like this, and we'll have all of the other racks you can also access. So we just want to make sure that we're not letting them touch each other, because if your picture touches somebody else's, they will get stuck together. Okay, most of you know how to use the boards to be able to create a drawing rack. I'm going to move this over here. So this would be an example of what we would do. You'll bring your underneath sheet with your picture to the drawing rack. Make sure that it stays parallel to the floor and horizontal, because what's going to happen is your glue is going to drip if you're not careful. So you're going to bring it up here. You're going to have a buddy probably to help you. Your substitute teacher might help you actually. And then we're going to put them like that so that we can fit 2 per board on these smaller boards. And then we'll take the cups. We'll take the cups and put them at the corners. We do not want to let the cups touch the glue. So you're trying to make sure that they're not going to touch the glue, but that they're also on the board. Those are going to go there. And then you'll take the next board the next student will put their paper here, and when that board is filled, the next board will go on, and we'll do the same thing so that we can put as many as possible right here. So we're going to use the smaller cups, okay, and I'll have it set up for you. Take yours at your tables after you're done. Would you please wring out a sponge at the sink and wash down your table so that we don't have black glue on the tables. Also check the floor because the black glue is really difficult to get off the floor once it dries. Just kind of hit it with a sponge, or maybe a dry paper towel might help it. But get any of that black glue up off the floor because it's really, really difficult in the afternoon to get up. Also, make sure you're walking very slowly through the room when you're bringing your artwork to the drying station, because if you're walking quickly, a breeze can happen and then your picture flies up and hits you in the face, which could be bad luck for you. So make sure that you do a good job today. When you're done, we can stack these in an area or just wipe them down with a paper towel, and then the next class can use them. So have a great time, and I'll talk to you guys later. Be nice to the substitute. As you're working, you're going to continue to add in your glue. And you only want to work in one area at a time. So see, I blobbed that, and that's okay. I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm just gonna do this and kind of take, it's kind of like having a little ink well. I might take that and use it down through here, and then I might make this line a little thicker, make it look like I meant to do it. Everybody makes mistakes. The trick is, ooh, I just dripped that. We'll figure that out in a minute. The trick is to make it look like you did it on purpose. So that's what really good artists do, is they make it look like the mistakes they made, they did intentionally. And sometimes those mistakes can actually end up making things look really good. Okay, so let's say I finished off this area. Now I got another smudge because I was motioning there. So what I might do, let me go ahead and get this line in so you can kind of see what I might do in this area. It's going to be kind of blobby, that's okay. I'm always going to go back in and manipulate it. Now what I could do is, to make this even more interesting over here, I could make the background be a little bit more organic. Oh, also, when you have a bubble, you'll want to pop it because it won't look very good when you're finished. So just kind of move the paper clip over top of it and that bubble will pop. And I want to kind of work on this while it's still wet, and then I'm going to work in here. So maybe I'm going to do something like this. Might play around with like what the background might be. So I might have a blob there. Ooh. And then I can bring that this way. I might make a dot. Then I might make a circle. So it's kind of like the Zentangles where you just continue to work. I'm just taking that glue. As you work the second day, you're going to start exploring the background of your picture. I don't really want you to do a huge amount of these Zentangle-y kind of ideas in your actual drawing materials. I want them to have, the Zentangles I want to happen more on the outside. And remember, a Zentangle is just a shape and a line that begins to like evolve into different things. And right now I'm creating like dots and shapes back in this area. So I'm just taking from my inkwell and kind of exploring out. You can look at Zentangles if you want. Just make sure you don't accidentally get the papers up in the glue because it can mess up your design. Could be kind of too much stuff at your table. So I'll have a location for those if you need them. My suggestion though is the first couple of days, get all of your glue on your regular lines that you've already drawn, and then you can explore it. Here's how you might explore a section. You might finish drawing the line that's at the object. And then I'm noticing that I've got lots of dripping drops here, and so I might repeat a few lines that look like that. And I'm going to kind of make some drops. So I'm just looking at maybe some things that I could use for ideas. Because this area is going to be outlined with drops, I can make this area look like they're darker drops that are kind of running down the page. Or I can spin them out. I can spin little textures out. So I'll make this look like a drip. Like that. I might make this one look like one as well. Kind of like that one like that. This one's going to run into my crayon, so I'm going to just kind of let it flow from there. Looking at what might make sense with the piece or what might be interesting visually. This one, I'm going to make it be kind of a spinning line that kind of kicks out a little bit, something like that. So I can kind of play around with different things that work. And I might repeat that area to make it kind of connect back in with this one to create a rhythm. So you can kind of repeat the lines to make an interesting rhythm or pattern in your space. Remember to always, always get rid of those blobbies so they don't look immature. We want it to look like a mature picture. We don't want it to look like you drew with glue. We want it to look like you're drawing with the high-tech drawing material. And I just continue to put my details in, and that's what you're going to do the second day. The second day, finish outlining all of your, I didn't do this, so I apologize, but I was trying to show you the background. Try to finish outlining all of your drawing materials before you start working on your background. I think that might help you, okay? Good luck.